press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children, subject social science, lesson topic the Mughal Empire. In this class we study about the cultural contribution of the Mughal Empire. Okay, in this class we study about the administration, revenue system, literature and contribution of architecture. Okay, the Mughal administration, the emperor possessed all civil and military powers. Okay, his judgment was final in all matters. The empire was divided into provinces like subhas, districts, sarkars and taluks, paraganas. The Kotwal looked after law and order in the cities. They divided into whole empire, provinces, okay. Provinces divided into sarkars, provinces are subhas, subhas means provinces, divided into subha, divided into sarkars, taluks, paraganas and last gramas. Okay, the final judgment was in all matters. The emperor possessed all civil and military powers. His judgment was final in all matters. The empire was divided into subhas, sarkars, taluks or paraganas and grams. The Kotwal looked after law and order. Kotwal looked after law and orders in the cities. We see here revenue system. Akbar's minister Raja Todarmal framed the land revenue system. Raja Todarmal framed the land revenue system. Under the revenue system, the land revenue was fixed on the basis of the fertility of the soil, fertility of the cities. Okay, see here children, Mughal ruler such as Babur, Humayun, Akbar and Jahangir were known to spread cultural development in our country, isn't it? The maximum works in the field was done during Mughal rule. The Mughal traditions highly influenced the palaces and forts of many regional and local kingdoms. Babur, he was a great scholar and had taken up a responsibility of building up of schools and colleges in his kingdom. Humayun, he had huge love for books. He also built so many madrasas in his kingdom. Akbar, he made to build large number of colleges, schools at Agra, Fatehpur Sikri for high learning. Understood? He wanted that every single person of his empire would receive education, and then we see Jahangir, he was a great researcher. Okay, now we study about administration, isn't it? The Mughal empire was divided into subhas, divided into subhas, which were further subdivided into sarkars. It is subdivided sarkars. Sarkars are paraganas and gram. Okay, the Akbar introduced the mansabdari system. He introduced his minister, Akbar's minister Raja Todarmal. He introduced mansabdari system. The term mansab means, mansab indicate. He introduced mansabdari system. Okay, mansab indicates Mansabdari system. The term mansab indicates the rank of the holder. Okay. During Mughal administration, there were three methods of revenue collection. Kankut, Rai and Zapti. The emperor of the Mughal Empire was always the central administrative authority. He was the head of the government, central government. A number of officers were appointed there. The state had four main departments. Four main officers also of the central government. They were Diwani, Mir Bakshi, Mir Sanam and Sadar. Soldiers, horsemen, horses and elephants has to maintained by the Mansabdars. Okay. See here, literature. Literature, the Mughals patronized Persian literature. Persian literature in a special way. There were famous historians like Abul Fazl, Nizamuddin and Badauni in Akbar's court. Akbar gave shelter for so many historians like Abul Fazl, Nizamuddin and Badauni in his court. Akbarnama is an important Akbarnama. Akbarnama is very important literary work of Abul Fazl. Dara Shikoh, the Mughal prince, he was an extraordinary scholar. He translated the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Though Hindi literature did not receive the royal patronage during this period, it flourished on accounts of the efforts of the Bhakti saints Ramacharita the well-known work of Tulsi Das during this period. Next, architecture. Humayun's tomb in Delhi was constructed during the early period of Akbar region. He built a new capital near Agra. They named it Fatehpur Sikri. Who built this? Akbar built Fatehpur Sikri. The magnificent palaces, mosques and pavilions of this place attract so many tourists from all over the world. The entrance of the Jama Masjid, Buland Darwaza, here is the tallest in India. Buland Darwaza is the tallest in India. It is 40-meter tall. See here children, page number 84, Humayun's tomb at Delhi. Okay, the Mughal architecture attained its glory during the region of Shah Jahan, okay, Moti Mahal. Shah Jahan built Moti Mahal, the palace that he built in Agra fort, okay, it is very, Moti Mahal, it is very beautiful. He built Moti Mahal. Who built this? Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan built Moti Mahal. And then this palace that he built in Agra fort, it is very extremely beautiful. The Taj Mahal at Agra, Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal at Agra. It shows Mughal architecture at its best, isn't it? This palace, Taj Mahal, these all architecture, the Mughal architecture, this shows that Mughal architecture is best. Understood? This wonderful monument was built in memory of his queen. Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal memory of his queen Mumtaz Mahal. Understood? Shah Jahan's wife name was Mumtaz Mahal. Okay. There are tombs of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz in this mausoleum. It was Shah Jahan who got the famous Red Fort. He built Red Fort at Delhi. Understood? See here, Fort Agra. And then Mughal architecture is the type of Indo-Islamic architecture. It is a type of Indo-Islamic architecture developed by the Mughals in the 16th to 19th centuries. The Taj Mahal at Agra, it is very beautiful. India is the most famous example of Mughal architecture, isn't it? Bashahi Mosque in Lahore, the Alamgir Gate at Lahore Fort in Lahore. The Mughal dynasty was established after the victory of Babur at Panipat in 1526. During his 5 years, Babur took interest in constructing the buildings. Large bulbous onion domes, sometimes surrounded by 4 small domes, isn't it? They used like marble and red sand stone, buildings surrounded by gardens, all 4 sides, and decorative chhatris, large gateways leading up to the main building. Mughal architecture also influenced later Indian architecture styles, including the Indo-Sasanic style, isn't it? The Taj Mahal, who built Taj Mahal? The Taj Mahal is built by Shah Jahan, isn't it? A World Heritage Site was built by Shah Jahan in memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. Okay, next, paintings. A new school of paintings emerged during this period, the period of Mughals. There were more than 100 artists in Akbar's. He gave hundreds artists in his, he gave shelter for 100 artists in his court. The art of painting reached its peaks under the patronage of Jahangir, but Aurangzeb, he was orthodox in outlook. He did not encourage painting. Understood? He did not like this. Next, music. Music received special patronage during Akbar's period. The large number of musicians in his court were divided into 7 groups. Each day a particular group gave a music recital. Tansen was the very famous, was the most remarkable musician of Akbar's court. Okay, Jahangir and Shah Jahan also extended patronage to music, but Aurangzeb banned music because he was orthodox. Understood? That's why he banned the music. However, music lingered in the hearts of people. Next, we study about the decline of the Mughal Empire. The empire began to decline towards the end of Aurangzeb's region. The reasons for the decline are the chieftains became corrupt, intense fighting took place among the claimants of the throne. The provincial governments took advantage of the situation and declared their independence. Aurangzeb's desire to convert India into Islamic country or Islamic state met with opposition everywhere. The prolonged warfare with the Sikhs, the Rajputs and the Marathas fully exhausted the resources of the empire. In the meanwhile, Nadir Shah, he was a Persian invader. Nadir Shah, he was a Persian invader. He raided Delhi. He looted the wealth amassed by the Mughals over a period of 2 centuries. He looted Delhi 2 centuries. He carried away the world famous Kohinoor diamond. Who carried away? Nadir Shah. Who was he? He was a Persian. Understood? He looted the wealth amassed by the Mughals over a period of 2 centuries. Okay. He carried away the world famous Kohinoor diamond and the peacock throne of Shah Jahan. The treasury of the Mughals became empty. Okay, once again, the decline of the Mughal Empire. Here we see so many reasons. The reasons for the decline are the chieftains. The chieftains became very corrupt. Understood? Intense fighting took place among the throne, among the claimants to the throne. Understood? The provincial governors took advantage of the situation and declared themselves independence. Understood? They declared their independence. They became free. Aurangzeb's desire to convert India into an Islamic state. It was also opposition everywhere. The prolonged warfare with the Sikhs. Understood? During the Aurangzeb period, what happened? His religious policy also, he was an orthodox Muslim. He stayed away from drinking, wine, gambling, isn't it? Entertainment and music. Aurangzeb gave up the liberal policy of Akbar. He reimposed the jizya. This led to many political rebellions, isn't it? The Sikh rebellion, the Sikhs were provoked by Aurangzeb's religious religious policy. The Sikh Guru Tej Bahadur was publicly executed in Delhi. That's why his son Guru Govind Singh organized the Sikh community into a militant sect, isn't it? The Sikhs and Rajputs strongly opposed Aurangzeb in North India. The Sikhs and Rajputs strongly opposed the Aurangzeb in North India. Shivaji rose in revolt in the Deccan, isn't it? The revolts continued for a long time, and as a result, Aurangzeb lost enormous wealth. Understood? And then Nadir Shah came to India. He was a Persian. He was a invader. He raided Delhi. He looted the Delhi. He carried away the world famous Kohinoor diamond and the peacock throne of Shah Jahan. Understood? The treasury of the Mughals became empty. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವಿವಾಗ ಮೊಘಲರ ಕಾಲದ ಆಡಳಿತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಈ ಮೊಘಲರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ಸುಭಗಳು ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಪ್ರಾಂತ್ಯಗಳಾಗಿ ಅವರು ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸುಭಗಳನ್ನು ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳಾಗಿಯೂ, ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಫರಗಣಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳಾಗಿ ಅವರು ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇವರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಅನೇಕ ಭೂಕಂದಾಯ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವರು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಕ್ಬರನ ಕಂದಾಯ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಯಾರು, ರಾಜ ತೋದರ್ಮಲ್. ತೋದರ್ಮಲ್ಲನು ಕೂಡ ಐನಿ ದಹಸಾಲ ಎಂಬ ಹೊಸ ಕಂದಾಯ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತರ್ತಾನೆ. ಭೂಮಿಯ ಮಾಪನಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರು ಮಹತ್ವವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಕ್ಬರ್ ಶಜಾಯಿ ಇಲಾಹಿ ಎಂಬ ಭೂಮಾಪನ ದಂಡವನ್ನು ಇವನು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಭಿಗಾ ಎಂಬುದು ಕಂದಾಯ ನಿಷ್ಕರ್ಷೆಯ ಮೂಲ ಘಟಕ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಮನ್ಸಬ್ದಾರಿ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಇವರು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕ್ರಿಸ್ತಶಕ 1577ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇನೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಗರಿಕರ ಆಡಳಿತವನ್ನು ಒಂದೇ ಆಡಳಿತದ ಯಂತ್ರದ ಮಾದರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಘಟಿಸಲು ಅಕ್ಬರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಮನ್ಸಬ್ದಾರಿ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಅವನು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಮಂಗೋಲರ ಸೇನಾ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯಿಂದ ಇವನು ಪ್ರಭಾವಿತನಾಗಿ ಈ ಮನ್ಸಬ್ದಾರಿ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಅವನು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಮನ್ಸಬ್ದಾರರಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಶ್ರೇಣಿಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ, ಅವು ಜಾಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸವಾರ್. ಅಕ್ಬರನ ಮರಣ ನಂತರ ಜಹಾಂಗೀರನು ಮನ್ಸಬ್ದಾರಿ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ದೋ ಅಸ್ಫಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಿ ಅಸ್ಫಾ ಎಂಬ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಅವನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಮೊಘಲರು ವಾಸ್ತುಶಿಲ್ಪಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಾಬರ್ ಪಾಣಿಪತ್ನ ಕಾಬೂಲಿಬಾಗ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಸೂದಿಯನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಸಂಬಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಜಮಾಯಿ ಮಸ್ಜಿದಿ ಎಂಬ ಮಸೀದಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಹುಮಾಯೂನ್ ದೆಹಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೀನ್ಪನಾ ಎಂಬ ಅರಮನೆಯನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಮೀಲಿ ಮಸೀದಿ ಎಂಬ ಮಸೀದಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಕ್ಬರ್ 1569ರಲ್ಲಿ ಫತೇಪುರ್ ಸಿಕ್ರಿ ಎಂಬ ಹೊಸ ರಾಜಧಾನಿಯನ್ನು ಅವನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಕ್ಬರನು ಆಗ್ರಾದ ಕೋಟೆ, ಲಾಹೋರ್ ಕೋಟೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅಲಹಾಬಾದ್ ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅವನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ನಂತರ ಫತೇಪುರದ ಇತರ ಕಟ್ಟ ಫತೇಪುರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಜುಮ್ಮಾ ಮಸೀದಿ, ಶೇಖ್ ಸಲೀಂ ಚಿಸ್ತಿ ಸಮಾಧಿ, ಬೀರ್ಬಲ್ ಮಹಲ್, ಅಂಬರ್ನ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರಿಯ ಅರಮನೆ, ಸೋನಾ ಮಕಾನ್ ಮುಂತಾದವುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ನಂತರ ಅಕ್ಬರ್ನ ಗೋರಿಯು ಸಿಕಂದರಾದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಫತೇಪುರ್ನನ್ನು ಶಿಲ್ಪೆಯಲ್ಲಿನ ಶೃಂಗಾರ ಎಂದು ಕೂಡ ಕರೆಯಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಶಹಜಹಾನ್ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊಘಲ್ ವಾಸ್ತುಶಿಲ್ಪ ತನ್ನ ಔನ್ನತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮುಟ್ಟುತ್ತೆ. ಇವನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅಂದರೆ ಇವನು ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ ಕಟ್ಟಡಗಳು ಅಂದರೆ ಶಹಜಹಾನ್ ದೆಹಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಂಪು ಕೋಟೆಯನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದರ ಒಳಗಿರುವ ದಿವಾನಿ ಖಾಸ್, ದಿವಾನಿ ಆಮ್ ಇದು ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದದ್ದು. ಇವನು ಆಗ್ರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ದಿವಾನಿ ಖಾಸ್, ಮಸೋಲಿಯಂ, ಬುರ್ಜ್, ಮೋತಿ ಮಸೀದಿ, ಸೀಸ್ ಮಹಲ್, ಖಾಸ್ ಮಹಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮಚ್ಚೆ ಮಹಲ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಶಹಜಹಾನ್ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇವನು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ವಾಸ್ತುಶಿಲ್ಪಿ ಎಂದು ಕೂಡ ಇವನನ್ನು ಕರೆಯಲಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಇವನು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ವಾಸ್ತುಶಿಲ್ಪಿ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇವನು ತನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿಯ ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ತನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿಯ ಸ್ಮರಣಾರ್ಥಕವಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ತಾಜ್ಮಹಲನ್ನು ಅವನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಉಸ್ತಾದ್ ಈಸಾ ಎಂಬ ಶಿಲ್ಪಿ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಶಹಜಹಾನನು ರತ್ನ ಖಚಿತ ಮಯೂರ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಇವನು ಶಹಜಹಾನ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆಗ್ರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ತಾಜ್ಮಹಲನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆ ತಾಜ್ಮಹಲನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನ ಅವನು, ತನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮುಮ್ತಾಜ್ ಮಹಲ್ಲಳ ನೆನಪಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ಮರಣಾರ್ಥಕವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು ತಾಜ್ಮಹಲನ್ನು ಆಗ್ರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ರತ್ನ ಖಚಿತ ಮಯೂರ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವನು ನಿರ್ಮಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಏನೇ ಯಾವ್ದ್ಯಾವುದು ಬುರ್ಜ್ ಮಹಲ್, ಮೋತಿ ಮಹಲ್, ಸೀಸ್ ಮಹಲ್, ಥಾಸ್ ಮಹಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಾಜ್ ಮಹಲ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಇವನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ತಾಜ್ ಮಹಲ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು. ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ಇವನ ವಾಸ್ತು ಶಿಲ್ಪಿ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ತನ್ನ ಪತ್ನಿಯ ಸ್ಮರಣಾರ್ಥಕವಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ಮಿಸಿರುವಂತಹ ಆಗ್ರಾದ ತಾಜ್ ಮಹಲ್. ಮೊಘಲರು ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಔರಂಗಜೇಬ್ ದೆಹಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಂಪು ಕೋಟೆ, ಮೋತಿ ಮಸೀದಿ, ಲಾಹೋರ್ನ ಬಾದ್ಶಾಹಿ ಮಸೀದಿಯನ್ನು ಅವನು ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಔರಂಗಾಬಾದ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಬಿಕಾ ಮುಕಾಬರಾ ಕಟ್ಟಡವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಮೊಘಲರು ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಪ್ರಾಶಸ್ತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹುಮಾಯೂನ್ನಿಂದ ಮೊಘಲ್ ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗಿ ಅಕ್ಬರ್ನ ಆಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀರ್ ಸೈಯದ್ ಅಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಖಾಜಾ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ಸಮದ್ ಎಂಬುವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧಿ ವರ್ಣಚಿತ್ರದ ಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ರಚಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಂಬುವರು ದಸ್ತನಿ ಹಮೀರ್ ಹುಮ್ಜಾ ಎಂಬ ವರ್ಣಚಿತ್ರವನ್ನು ಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ರಚಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ಸಮದ್, ಫಾರಕ್ ಬೇಗ್, ಬಸ್ಪನ್, ದಶವನ್ ಎಂಬುವರು ಅಕ್ಬರ್ನ ಆಸ್ಥಾನದ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಚಿತ್ರಕಾರರಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಜಹಾಂಗೀರ್ ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಗೆ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಹತ್ವವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ ಮೊಘಲ್ ದೊರೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಇವನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಮೊಘಲ್ ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಬೀರಿತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಔರಂಗಜೇಬ್ ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಯ ವಿರೋಧಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದ. ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಗೆ ಅವನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್.